Maggie Q, how are you? I'm Leo Brady with AMovieGuy.com. It's great to be with you today.
Nice to be with you as well, especially in person.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
And in doing my research, I noticed you and I have a lot in common, actually.
Stop it. Do tell.
Yeah. So youngest of the family.
Okay. How many?
Of three.
Of three, okay.
Vegan, vegetarian.
Oh, nice, nice.
Awesome.
Love it.
And college athletes.
Okay, what'd you do?
I played football in college.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, fantastic.
Fantastic.
So I want to get started, though, on movie stuff.
Yeah, let's do it.
You sort of got brought in under the wing of Jackie Chan. What an amazing sort of opportunity that was. And but yet I've noticed you've had some minor roles with him, but you've never like actually made a movie right by his side.
No.
Why do you think that's happening? And when are we going to get that?
Oh my God, I would never want to make a movie with him. He's too good at what he does. Jackie gave me these opportunities here and there, which was so sweet of him. He never had to include me in any of that.
Yeah.
He gave me a little cameo in Rush Hour. I did a little cameo in Around the World in 80 Days. And, and they were just like fun things. And, they managed me. So they're like, oh, let's throw you in here and there.
I think the two of you would make a perfect pair together.
That's actually really funny because he's really, because I worked around him for so many years. I mean, he's got a major standard.
Yeah.
So working with him is tough. I mean, obviously, if you don't come from his camp, he's not as tough on you. But if you're from his camp, well, he has an expectation of what we need to or have to give.
Yeah. So you were part of the Mission Impossible 3 and the Die Hard series. So put you on the spot.
Sure.
Which of the two are you prouder to have been a part of?
Ooh, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Mission was the first, right?
Yeah.
And so that was like almost not even prouder. It was just sort of like it was a very surreal experience to be, in the film, a part of the team, with Ving and Tom and Johnny at the time. And I think that I was so, the first time I met Tom, I was doing a camera test with JJ, and he had come in fresh off of like War of the Worlds, promo, and came in because he was like dying to meet me because he wasn't there when I was cast because he was promoting the other movie.
Yeah.
And so, he sort of rocked up and was like, "Hey, I'm so excited you're in this movie." And I just kind of looked at him, and it's sort of like one of those things where you've seen someone and been looking at them for so many years, but they're not looking back at you.
Right.
Right? And then all of a sudden they are.
Yeah.
So it was just a very surreal, exciting experience, and so very unforgettable.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So let's talk the Protege. I mean, this is awesome. I feel like this movie's been a long time coming for you. I'm like so happy that you're like the lead of this action film.
That's nice.
So why do you think this movie came along and was finally the right time for you to make it?
I don't know, because I was adamant that I didn't want to do an action movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I really was explicitly like, don't even call me about it. Just say no and let's move on and like go in a different direction and figure this whole thing out. I'd rather not work. Just kind of separate myself a little bit. But I think that it was undeniable. My agent was just sort of like, well, there's all these elements that you don't know about. So the film was called something else before. And the minute he told me the title, I was like, oh no, that just immediately sounds like something I've seen a million times. And he's like, it's not, because of these reasons. And the Martin Campbell of it all, Richard, who was an incredible writer, arguably one of the best writers in Hollywood. And then Michael was also attached, and I thought, oh, well, these are the elements that make it not so much an action movie as much as probably a great film that's got some action in it.
Yeah, definitely. I noticed that. Now, and you mentioned Michael, you're working with Michael Keaton and Sam Jackson. Talk about working with them as actors. They both are two actors who have very unique cadences.
It's so true. I agree.
So do you sort of sit down with them and do a read-through to get started?
Oh, yeah. Tons.
What did you, what was that experience like?
It was cool because they were just willing and open and collaborative, right? It seems like that's normal and what would happen all the time, but it's not true. So it was a rare gift, but also with Michael especially, Martin understood that the relationships in this film were so important and more important than anything else we were doing in this movie. Because he was like, Maggie, he said it to me a million times, if they don't care about Moody and Anna's relationship. They don't care about Rembrandt and Anna's relationship.
Yeah.
Who cares? Like, why are we even making this? Like, you can do the biggest action in the world, which he has done in his career.
Yep.
He didn't care about that at all. Like, in fact, it was me who was pushing, like, we'd run out of time and he'd be like, well, we got to cut this part of the action sequence. And I'd be like, nope, not happening. And I would be fighting for getting more of the action in there because Martin was centrally focused on these characters.
For sure.
He really was.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, and talk a little bit too. I mean, I looked through the stunt list cast. I mean, you're not even listed as a stunt coordinator in any way, but I have to admit, I have to understand, like you are definitely involved in that whole
100%.
process. But it feels like for this movie too, you do a really good job of balancing, like you talked about, the drama with the stunt work.
Yeah.
Talk about, like, how did you approach it? Did they come to you and say, like, look, how should we choreograph this scene?
They do. Well, they choreograph in their image
Yeah.
of what they sort of see on the page and how they feel. And that's why I love the stunt community, too. They're just so good at what they do. I mean, working with actors, number one, is never going to be easy because everyone's so different.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you have a skill set and an expression that you want to have.
Yeah.
And then I have my own. Martin has his own, right? So there's a lot of cooks. And eventually you end up with something that you're proud of, but there's sacrifices made along the way. And I'm sure that's very hard for them. But they're the consummate professionals, I have to say, the stunt community. And I have so much respect for what they do. And so I love collaborating with them.
Yeah, definitely. So your last 3 films before this have been Fantasy Island, The Argument, Death of Me. You're definitely veering towards different genres, things of that nature. What brought you to those decisions to sort of, I mean, you do comedy and a little bit of horror. I think you're a perfect fit for these movies.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I mean, up next I have just a comedy, just a straight sitcom on Fox, which is going to be really fun. And so, I mean, it's funny because if you do something well, you want to be known for something, right? You don't want to be known for nothing. And so I am known for something, but if you're known for something, that's the thing you're known for.
You don't want to be typecast, right?
And then there's that box, and they put you in that box, and that's not devastating to me because it's like, it's nice to be known for something, right? But you do, if you do get boxed in, you do have to work your way out, and it's my responsibility to do that. So it's as important as it's important as it is to like certain things and want them, but it's also important to say no to a lot of things so that you can move in a new direction.
Yeah. Well, I think it's awesome, and I'm so happy seeing you in these different things.
Cool.
So last question. I recently heard you on a podcast, I think, talk about how Quentin Tarantino was a director. You didn't know if you'd work with him or not. Do you have a specific director in your mind that you are like, I would love to work with them?
This is going to sound very
Cliche.
just strange, but I'm such a Tim Burton fan. I'm such a huge Tim Burton fan.
Love that answer.
Well, because I love the worlds that he creates. And I know he kind of works with the same people all the time, and he's got his favorites or whatever, but he's so brilliant, and he's a really brilliant artist. And,
Totally
he had that exhibition that kind of went around the world. And one of the things I love most about Tim Burton was that at the exhibition was his rejection letter from art school. Like on the wall. He had saved it, where they literally said, like, we just don't think you're good enough to be in art school, which I love so much. And then the fact that he's become who he's become, and I just love the worlds he creates. I think he's a friggin' genius.
Yes.
So anyway.
So do I. Well, let's put that out there into the air and hope that happens. I want that to happen.
Thank you.
Maggie Q, thank you so much.
Really appreciate
Excited
you.
to Protege. Congrats.
Thanks for coming out in person.
Yeah. All right.